this has the best ending of a film I've seen in a really long time.
It's pretty good.
It's really pretty
I
good.
agree.
It's really good. It's really, really good. So I really enjoyed the film. So just congratulations on it. Let's dive in. So at the beginning of the film, the cab driver comments on Julia's beauty. And then even with the translation app that Julia is using, it's teaching her how to say she is a beautiful woman. Chloe, why was it important for you to explore in the ways in which beauty, something that is so desired and admired, is also the thing that has forced women to become highly observant and fearful?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously we're sort of working within a genre that we've seen before. You know, we're working off of Rear Window and Rosemary's Baby, and you know, those movies feature very beautiful blonde actresses, and I think, you know, those movies are incredible. But certainly, you know, I think we're sort of used to looking at women through a male gaze, and you know, even in small ways, like the translation app saying she is a beautiful woman. I think I literally use a language learning app and they kept using sentences like that. So I decided to just put it in because it's there, and it exists, and it's kind of the subtext of a lot of conversations that women have with men, unfortunately. And it just, I've always felt from a very early age that I sort of learned to feel that my primary value is in how I look. And that's sort of reinforced very often, and it can just, you know, it can be very frustrating. So I wanted to put that in as a sort of context for everything else that's happening.
Yeah, it was really impactful. And even watching Charade, which is one of my favorite films, I was introduced to that film at a very young age. And I think Audrey's character sort of goes through that same sort of undermining and like underestimation that occurs. We all know as women, there's nothing worse than being told you're crazy or acting like you're crazy. But I thought it was really cool how y'all use the word silly a lot in this film, which seems really playful and harmless, but actually feels like a tamed version of crazy. Maika, once Julia befriends Irina, it seems like there's a shift that happens. And how do you think her relationship with Irina helps her to stop feeling so ashamed of that, of her possibly silly suspicions?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced it, but there's, like you said, nothing more frustrating than a person that you consider to be probably one of the closest people in your life, husband or family, not believing you or thinking that you're overreacting, being dramatic, and you can't help but then start questioning yourself. And I think that starts to happen. And then when she meets Irina, she has a person that understands her and understands where she's coming from and relates and supports her. So I think that you see a shift and maybe like a little bit more confidence in herself and in what she believes to be happening. And so yeah.
Yeah, I love that line. I'm probably gonna butcher it, but Irina says, like, wouldn't you rather be called crazy than end up dead? It's like, are those our choices?
Literally, yeah.
But I feel like that's what you're exploring in this film, that it's like, those are our choices. And that's why it's so important to have that support, because Karl, and this leads me to you, even the most kind of supporting, loving partners out there. I know I've been married for 8 years and I love my husband, but support is this really like heavy, complicated word sometimes. And, you know, he's just unable to kind of connect with Julia's pain, not necessarily to his fault. They're just kind of going like this. How is Francis's journey in this film a wake-up call specifically to men in similar partnerships of, you know, sometimes being nice and simply asking how your day was just doesn't cut it?
Yeah, I think that I, like many men, relationships, have made the error of trying to de-escalate someone's experience versus just trying to listen even. You know, sometimes, and this is hard, I think, for us guys, rather than trying to fix something, sometimes you don't have to do anything other than just be open and listen and try to feel into what your partner is going through. Sometimes you can't fix something, and it's okay to not understand something right away. That's what, you know, the errors Frances makes are some of the most frustrating things for me to watch, because it reminds me of my own mistakes in the past, but also, you know, something I see, you know, see guys make these mistakes, and it's, yeah. So I would say a wake-up call for guys. I would say, like, take note. Don't do what Frances is doing all the time.
But it's so true. It's so funny. I'm like, my husband's in the other room. I'm like, honey, are you listening?
Are you listening?
Carl right now? Are you listening? But no, it's very true. I think that's why, like I was telling, you know, Chloe and Maika earlier, that after I watched this, I had this urge to I like word vomit it to my husband about what it was about. And like, I felt like I could really relate to this story in so many ways, especially being in a long-term partnership where no one's necessarily the good or the bad guy. It's just that communication and that support that two people just need in different ways. And I think that's why also, Chloe, this is a testament to your brilliantness, is that you wrote Frances as this guy that we can kind of see in our partners, that we can see and that we can, you know, understand, and that it's this relatable relationship. And the last thing that Frances says, I think it's the last thing that he says to Julia in the film is, I'm tired of feeling like this because you can't let go of a fucking fantasy. Sorry, I really butchered that.
No, you did great.
I was like, I would love to know from all of you how you feel this film plays with the delicate balance of support in a partnership. If that makes sense.
Chloe, take it away.
Chloe.
Just like,
nice move.
Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's like, I don't even think of Francis necessarily as a bad guy. You know, I think like he's someone who doesn't have malicious intentions. He probably genuinely wants to understand where his partner is coming from. But I think what I was trying to communicate is just the fact that sometimes I think men, they just don't have the same experience as women. Even something as simple as like walking down the street or going to the grocery store or going to a movie theater. And there are moments where you find yourself in situations that can be kind of scary. And maybe it's scary in a way that's not like big. Or if you were to go home and try to explain why it was scary to your partner, they can't fully understand it because they weren't there and they haven't had the totality of those experiences over a lifetime. So I just felt it was, you know, again, like it was such a delicate balance with Francis. And I think Karl did such a good job with it because, you know, you do want him to be sympathetic, but also you want to show, you know, the moments where he fails her. And again, not because he's a bad person or because he wants to hurt her in any way, but it's more just the sort of tragedy of, you know, he can't actually truly empathize with what she's going through because he hasn't really experienced it himself. So it's just sort of a little bit beyond his understanding.
Yeah, and it was so which is so heartbreaking in a way, I think sometimes. And it was so brilliant too to have this take place in where, you know, in a city where he understands the language and she doesn't. Just that choice is so impactful because I think that it's easy to forget too when we're in a partnership, especially like a husband and wife, you know each other so well, you feel like, you know, to take a moment and forget, even when you've got all this exciting stuff going on. Oh, wow. Like my partner, this is such a new environment for my partner. And that is it was really brilliant. So, thank you so much for your time today. And congratulations again on the film. I hope I get to see y'all next year at Sundance or at some point in person in the future. But thank you so much.